what we have played as roles. Therefore, when they see Nigerians in South Africa, they see them as interlopers, as people coming to take away their money, as people coming to create problems for them. They never see in them, for instance, that, but these are brothers that came to us at the time of difficulties. Not until there is public enlightenment, we say we are frontline states. Fine. But do the current generation of South Africans understand that? They do not. There is nothing to suggest that they do. And that is where the problem is. The moment there is a correct perception of Nigeria in South Africa, I can assure you that all these trade improvements we are talking about, new investments, all right, it will be good.
Can it be remedied?
Well, it can be remedied, but first of all, let me make this point, that at the end of the day, there's nothing wrong in seeking improved trade relations. It is good for the whole of Africa. Intra-African trade, when compared with total international trade for Africa, is less than 10%. So if there can be increased volume in the relationship between Nigeria and South Africa as leading countries, in fact, fantastic, it will be good. But the issue is, when we are promoting trade and investments, in this case, and you now discover that at the end of the day, it is not based on correct perception of Nigeria. And I can say that many South African businesses in Nigeria look at a country like Nigeria as a lawless country where they can improve on the lawlessness. It is because of the lawlessness in their perceptive analysis that they can defy the government of Nigeria. Please register all your subscribers. But you did not do so.
I'm just, looking at your assessment so far, and it would seem that if you look at a historical background of Nigeria-South Africa relations, in some areas it will look like we've held the short end of the stick, mostly. Now, you talked about, what the essence of this visit is, and what has been declared and what hasn't been declared, and what should be our own, agenda that we should be pushing. Are we clear, or do you get a sense that we're clear on the agenda that we're pushing with this visit of the South African president to Nigeria? Very honestly, I do not think we can scientifically argue that we have a clear objective. Nothing points to that. You see, the issue at the level of Nigeria-South Africa relationships, it is not just cooperation. There is also conflict there. It's conflict and cooperation going pari passu. All right? The same coin. Cooperation on one hand, conflict the other. Please, there are some deep-seated disagreements. Okay? For instance, what's causing those disagreements?
Look. South Africa is particularly interested in being a permanent member of the UN Security Council. So is Nigeria. All right? But nobody wants to present it in competitive terms.
But no relationship can stop each other from competing or going for that position, can it?
No, it's not as simple as that. You see, let's go back to Ezumwini consensus. Ezumwini is Swaziland. That's where the African Union met. They decided that there will be 2 representatives. No. Well, they wanted each region of Africa to have a representative. So they were talking about 5 representatives initially. But the international community appears to be talking about 2. But which are the 2 countries that are likely to represent Africa. 3 are on the agenda of the international community. They don't talk about it, but it's there. The 3 most eligible countries, basically, Nigeria, South Africa, and Egypt. The United States wants Egypt. But Egypt does not fall within the category of a region. All right? The United States wants the Arab world to have a seat. And the only country they can consider that can mobilize support is Egypt. But in this case, if you look at the conditions required, no country in Africa is more eligible than Nigeria in terms of regular, consistent commitment to international peacekeeping. All right? South Africa may, in terms of access dues, payment, have more money than Nigeria. But please, it still remains Nigeria that helped liberate South Africa only in 1994. And we have been engaged in international peacekeeping as far back as 1960.
Sorry,
so
Prof,
in this case,
because let's quickly talk about what we should be pushing for, because you already say it's not clear what our agenda is. But what should we be pushing for with this visit?
I think the first thing is respect for Nigeria, not just at the level of South Africa, in the whole of Africa. It is first of all respect and then trust. It cannot be monetized. People should not be talking about investments, trade, etc. Trade for what? Investment for what? That is not based on respect for Nigeria. There has to be respect for Nigeria. Nigeria should remain Nigeria.
But how do you show that respect?
Yes, in many ways. For instance, how do you treat Nigerians in South Africa? There is no Nigeria without the people of Nigeria. Nigeria is first of all the people. Before you talk about territory, before you talk about the physical aspects, it is the people. How do you deal with the Nigerian? Do you have respect for them? Respect begins at the level of issuance of visa. It begins with the arrival. It begins with the security of the Nigerian life anywhere. That is the issue. I am saying that for as long as we don't have minimum respect and mutual trust, all right, for the Nigerian, then talking about all aspects of international relations, bilateral ties, wouldn't mean anything.
All right, Professor Bola Akinterinwa is the Director General, Nigeria Institute of...
Former
DG, NIA. Always a pleasure to have you on, Prof.
Okay.
All right, then we will be back. We have so much perspective on this one coming up today, so don't go away yet.